last but not least, Frank Tank. It sounds like it's going to be a solid card. Still rumors, but they're saying Benavidez and Vazdik on the undercard with Edwin De Los Santos and Rayo. I won't ask for all those predictions, just the main event.
Didn't De Los Santos and Rayo fight already or no?
Yeah, rematch. It'll be Rayo's rematch. He got knocked out.
Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. De Los Santos, but I guess because he came off the wins over Colbert. Okay.
So they're going to do it again.
Yeah.
But your thoughts on the main event? Because I interviewed Timothy Bradley today, and he actually said Frank is a killer. He used the word killer.
I mean, Frank is a good fighter, and I think we're looking at probably the best fighter Gervonta's fought at this point. I don't know.
He also brought that up like this is the first brother.
Yeah. There's always that issue too, because you know the African American boxing style is unique in and of itself, and Tank, when he's not really when he's not using punching to win the fights, which most of the time he is, we have seen that he has a slick boxing style himself. I think Tank's an underrated boxer in that way, because people always talk about the power, and he doesn't throw a lot of shots overall on its way to getting you out of there. But I think this fight will be interesting, because I also think Tank, it's not just that he hasn't fought quote-unquote brothers, it's also he hasn't really stepped up a lot. You know, like he's had lines of pay-per-views against some very poor opposition that, you know, kind of leaves you kind of gasping like that. I know Alex Garcia was a 130-pound champion, but really, I mean, look at his whole body of work even since. I mean, that guy's a pay-per-view headliner, an opponent for a pay-per-view headliner. So even Santa Cruz, I know people. The fact that Santa Cruz is one of his best wins, I mean, that was a faded featherweight. You know what I mean? Like a featherweight. You know, and not only a featherweight, that was a guy who started his career at bantamweight. Forget about featherweight. He tapped out at featherweight at 126 and 130. So I don't know, man. It was. I feel like this is an interesting moment, because I rate Tank both as a fighter and as a puncher, but there's still a lot to see, and I think Frank Martin is a good, solid test. I mean, this will tell us a lot about Tank, because if Tank beats Frank Martin, then, you know, we'll continue to understand that he's for real. Nobody's doubting that he's not for real, but this will confirm it, right? But if he loses to Frank Martin, then you start to doubt how real was he in the first place, you know, because the body of work is not at the highest level. So I think it's an important fight for Tank, and obviously it's an important fight for Frank Martin. And look at that. And one more thing. Look how PBC always comes around. You know, people diss on PBC a lot of times if I'm making not doing this for their fighters, doing that for their fighters. But look at Frank Martin. He turned down the Shakur Stevenson fight, which he probably would have lost. And now he's in a big headliner against Tank Davis, probably getting paid more, and I think in a more winnable fight. You know what? Worked out for him.
I mean, sure.
It did, but you can't deny, had he beat Shakur, this would be a bigger
If
fight.
my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. There was no way he was going to beat Shakur Stevenson. Nobody's beating Shakur Stevenson. I'm telling you that right now. You can hate on Shakur Stevenson all you want. Nobody around that area.
Not even Devin Haney?
Nobody's beating Shakur Stevenson. I'm telling you right now. Devin looked great though. I'll give him credit. Devin looked great. Devin is the best. Devin is the best Devin is the best fight right now. Let's say he passed Sylvie won't fight. Devin is the best 140 pounder in the world. Shakur is the best 135 pounder in the world. I guess that fight eventually happens.
You don't put Tito in the conversation with 140?
Not the best one, not right now. I mean, he's in the conversation, of course, bro. I mean, listen, there's more than everybody's dancing in the 140 pound division. There's a lot of good fighters, but I think Devin is the best 140 pounder right now. You got to go with what you've done for me lately, bro. I mean, Teo had a chance. I didn't really expect Teo to dominate Jermaine Ortiz. I think Jermaine Ortiz is a very difficult opponent and very underrated. No, I never expected him to dominate that fight. But what I'm saying is, the way he looked was worse for wear. I never expected him to look perfect in that fight. Jermaine Ortiz is a very difficult guy to look good against, and he's a good fighter in his own right. So I was never expecting domination. And even if he didn't dominate, I was thinking like he's still going to be the best 140 pounder in the world, because the level of opposition is up there. But that was a very poor performance. And it just kind of, and the way it played out, and then especially with the momentum that Haney just had off the win over Prograis, like, you know, you can't go with hindsight with the Prograis win, like, oh, Prograis was all, no, bro. Prograis was still dangerous going into the fight. Okay? You can't look at it later, just as Haney did that to him. So, what are you going to do?
How different is Prograis from Matias?
No, Matias is...
Haney could do the same to Matias.
That's a lot more difficult, because I tell you what, Matias is a very consistent guy. He still has that youth where you're not going to punch it out of him. You're not going to frustrate it out of him. Matias reminds me of a Tito Trinidad in a lot of ways, bro. Like he's gonna press it. He's gonna press it and make you feel that heat, even if he's not right on you. You know what I mean? But he's gonna continue to just every minute you're in the ring with him, it's gonna feel like heat. You know what I mean? Because he can punch and he puts the numbers up anytime he gets in range. It will be a great style clash of styles. It will be a great clash of styles. I would really, really love to see that fight. That might be the best fight you can make at 140 pounds. But because it's the best fight you can make at 140 pounds, does boxing ever give you the best fight you can make? No. So we'll probably never see it. Or if we see it, we'll see it 10 years too late.
The good thing is he's with Matchroom. Devin is not with Matchroom anymore, but he's at least last fight on the Zone.
Yeah, yeah.
And they've done good business. They paid him a lot of money to fight Regis. I'm sure they'll find the money to make a unification.
Yeah, I mean, you gotta. Yeah, listen. If you got enough money, you can make anything happen. I've been saying that the Middle East should invest in the 140-pound division. You know, the Middle East. Because any fight the Middle East,
but Tank says send me 2 Ferraris.
Did he?
Oh, you didn't see that?
Oh, no.
Yeah,
I don't follow the TMZ version of boxing, man.
She made an interview with Ade from the Zone.
Oh, that's basically. Tank did what Devin did to Shakur, the 75-25. That's essentially doing the same thing. Like, send me 2 Ferraris, really, bro? Like, it's kind of. That's what I'm saying. Like, that's essentially like you don't want to fight. You know, like I felt like when Devin gave the 75-25 offer to Shakur, he didn't really want to fight. You know, so
I don't get that, Paulie, because do you even believe that Jaime's getting 25%?
You need to get through, buddy?
Jaime's getting 25%?
No.
Oh.
Can you, would you believe it if they told you?
No, but Canelo, he ain't bringing any Canelo numbers. Canelo numbers are different level. There's only 2 guys. Doesn't matter. It's a business. You can't make money grow on a tree. There's 2 different things.
Fury didn't even. He gave 20% to Dillian White, and he only had 1 belt.
Doesn't matter. Again, it's what you draw. It's your ability to draw, rake in numbers. It's your ability. You can't just make that up. It's got to be there. I know the belts help you.
I've never seen anybody get offered 25% for undisputed. That's 5 belts.
Yo, guys, we gotta get
it's also a guy he's not selling a lot though. You can't put the business side and the sporting side always together. You know, that was the fight to make. But whatever, you don't want to make it, that's fine. I mean, Devin's in a position of power negotiating wise, but nah, bro. I mean, there's only 2 guys in boxing that have that kind of numbers. Canelo and AJ. That's it, bro. Nobody's bringing those kind of numbers in boxing. And you can win every belt in every weight class in boxing history. You ain't gonna bring in those kind of numbers. Those are just you're just built that way, and you just star power from go. Like AJ had star power from go. Canelo had star power from go. And I'm not saying it's even right. I mean, I don't necessarily always agree with it. You know what I mean? But you know, that's the way it is. So listen, man. Can Devin get somewhat to those numbers? You need the opponents. Mayweather didn't get to those numbers until he beat Oscar De La Hoya, bro. You need the opponents. So you got to make those kind of fights.
Does Ryan make it to the fight?
Who cares? I mean, does anybody really care about that fight? I mean, I feel like only YouTubers care about that fight. Like, that's not.
He should just fight his
I feel like Devin made a great point. Like Barboza's a secondary opponent. I'd rather watch. Me, I'm a boxing guy. I don't care about YouTubers.
I don't want to fight Barboza. Nothing against
I'd rather.
Just take care of your mandatory. Sandor's right there.
Sandor.
Two southpaws.
Is Sandor on the card already?
No.
So man, I guess you can't see the reason Barboza's a backup opponent is because he's on the card. But honestly, even Barboza, isn't that a better fight than Ryan Garcia? For me, it's a better fight.
Based on the way Ryan looks. But I'll let you go, Paulie. Thank you so much, man. Family, don't forget to hit that like button. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Help us get to that 1 million subscribers. We're on the road to 1 million. And obviously, we have other great content on our Patreon channel. So since this video is over, head on over to our Patreon and check out all the exclusive content or right here on our YouTube members.